All right, let's guess a couple Skrulls that we think are going to be huge reveals in the MCU moving forward. All right, this is kind of tough because Nick Fury was in that episode, right? And a Skrull was technically Nick Fury for a couple seconds for a trick. But I'm kind of talking about something that'll play a huge role, like somebody that's being played as a character we believe is that character for many episodes or many movies, that in some big moment it will be revealed that it's a Skrull. So I have a couple ideas. I didn't think too much into it. I just thought right off the bat, Thunderbolt Ross or Val, director of CIA. One of them two motherfuckers are Skrulls.
Okay.
Right. Val, for sure.
I should have clarified. So I was thinking strictly in the show, like what we're going to get a reveal in the show. So I wasn't even thinking in the larger MCU picture. That probably would have made it way easier to select too. So one of mine's Val too. I think she's going to show up in the show, and I think we're going to get a reveal in this. That's one of my guesses. I think the president. That's my second one. Again, I picked two people from the show because it's been a long day. I went with the president though, because obviously we know in Thunderbolts we're getting President Thunderbolt Ross. So something's happened to this dude we were introduced in this episode. He's either dying or he's going to be revealed as a Skrull. We know he's not sticking around. So those are my two.
Right. I have Rhodey on my list too. So we saw Rhodey and the president talking together. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's two Skrulls kind of, planning things out together, pretending to be these two high officials.
Yeah, I had Rhodey and then I took him out for the president right before.
Right.
So
I'm saying both.
To that one straight up. I like it.
Ever since I knew Secret Invasions was coming out, I always said Maria Hill was a Skrull, like this whole time. But then,
she was.
Yeah, we had
for a bit.
So I was actually, my wife brought this up during the episode. She's like, "Wait, she's a Skrull, isn't she?" And I was like, "Yeah, she is." But the Skrull who was portraying her dies because it's Talos's wife.
Right.
That's what it is. Got it.
When does Talos's wife die?
Yeah, when does that happen? Yeah.
Off screen.
Oh.
It's set up as a plot point. He brings it up to Gaia where he's like, the guy you're working for is the one who killed her. So I think we're going to get more reveal as that goes on and stuff.
I wasn't sure if I missed.
Okay, so that was kind of confusing.
Yeah. Hey, shout out Kevin27 World for, just posting the death scene 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning with no spoiler alert or anything. Just very first clip with the caption, "Can't believe Feige did that to us." It's like, bro, what are you doing? It's 10 a.m. on a Wednesday.
Oh my god!
Oh, just ruined the whole episode ending for me with that. I was like, nice.
Yeah. Well, she wasn't a Skrull, but that's a major death. Marvel's been famous for bringing back the people they kill. I think this is a pretty permanent death, and bravo.
Still no sign of Coulson. Everybody keeps thinking he's coming back. I think he's dead.
I do have one more Skrull theory. I think one of the three main characters in the Marvels could be a Skrull.
Okay. Well, but then how do they do the powers? Because wouldn't they need to be connected with
Super Skrull? Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, but
Super Skrull.
They're also personally powered by the same
power
source.
That's true. That's true.
But the Thunderbolt Ross had an interesting thing where he disappeared for like 7 years and then came back for Civil War, right? And he's like, "Oh, I had a heart attack or something during my backswing," and so that would be a good time for a Skrull to kill him, replace him, come back into society. And that was kind of a weird abrupt comeback out of nowhere. Right. He's in Civil War.
Well, do we know that they're? Oh, never mind. I'm retarded. Yeah, I don't think so though, because he's going to be the Red Hulk.
Welcome back to another episode of Why So Sidious, a Nerd Podcast. Today, we're covering our first episode of Secret Invasions. Marvel returns with a Disney Plus series, a little darker maybe, a little more grounded, a little more spy espionage, a little more Winter Soldier-esque, and it's good. So I'm excited to talk about it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Why So Sidious Pod. Email us with any suggestions or conversation pieces at whysosidious@yahoo.com. And check out our Flash review. It bombed at the box office, but we liked it. We liked it a little bit. There's some good
Let's
stuff.
go.
We got our full Flash review out. We even did a Flashpoint comic review in spirit of the movie coming out. Otherwise, check out our Week in Geeks for some nerd movie news and our Nerd Octagon, a new experimental episode where we face characters against other characters from separate franchises and see where it leads the conversation.
So when it comes to the box office draft, I feel like Dave's got it wrapped up. So now I'm just rooting against JD
Don't do that.
for second place.
I got a hard hit with the Flash. Like, this is very depressing.
But Guardians went off.
It did.
Guardians is almost at a bill. It's close.
Is it?
It's at 850 or so.
Okay.
So yeah.
See, that's pretty chill. I think Spider-Verse slowed down right, like short of 600 mil.
So speaking of, check out our box office updates. Because at the beginning of the year, we did a box office draft. And we are going to be keeping track of that throughout the year. And there will be a winner at the end of the year. So keep track on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter for our box office updates. I think Dave's winning so far. I think
he has more movies out.
Be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, Flash hurt you there. And you only have 1.5 movies out now. So that didn't help either. But, you know, there's still a lot of months left. There's a lot of time left on the clock. All right.
Luckily, we didn't technically bet any money officially. So it's just pride. But it's still going to hurt.
I was thinking
1,000 on this.
Maybe the winner can pick their draft pick next year, and then second place gets to pick the next one, and then last place gets whatever's left over.
I think the winner gets to choose which of us gets cut from the podcast line.
Oh my God.
I feel like we loosely said that the loser has to pay the Buzzsprout fee.
Oh.
We might have said
I think
like that.
I think
there is
you're
some
right.
monetary.
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah, there's some monetary risk in this thing. There you go.
All right, let's summarize the episode. So we open up with Ross, and he's walking through the downtowns of Russia, somewhere, and we hear the dialogue of Prescott, and he's talking about this alien invasion, the Skrulls, how much danger it's going to be for Earth and all this stuff. Finally, Ross gets into his little garage where everything's painted on the walls like that the Skrulls have been invading for years. Ross is pretty skeptical. I mean, Ross is pretty skeptical about the amount of Skrulls that could have, been here for the last 20, 30 years or whatever it is. But he asks for the evidence. Prescott gives him the evidence, and as soon as he says that he's going to bring it to Nick Fury, Prescott gets a little fishy and automatically knows he's a Skrull, so he attacks Ross. Ross is a Skrull. He runs. Failing to jump over a building, he falls and dies. And Maria Hill pulls up to find Talos following him, and we didn't see Talos before this. So Maria Hill's here. You got a dead Ross that turns into a Skrull. You got Talos, who's supposed to be a Skrull, but he's a good guy, apparently. All here. So automatically, it's like, who do you trust? But anyway, we find Nick Fury. He's back, and he's catching a lot of heat for not being himself after the blip. Tonya, Maria Hill, Talos, they all say he's not the same Nick Fury. He used to be 3 steps ahead of everybody. He's just not looking good. We find out about a rogue Skrull named Gravik, who's new to the Council of Skrulls, and he's kind of starting this rebellion. He's getting all the young, angry Skrulls amped up because they don't have a new home like Nick Fury and Captain Marvel promised them a long time ago. So this is kind of a rebellious group that's saying, if we don't have a home yet, it's been 20, 30 years, we're just going to take Earth. This is not like Talos doesn't support them. They are a rogue branch of the Skrulls, but it's a lot to worry about because they've been hiding in society for years. They're planning to put Russia and America at war with one another. Pretty much something that'll wipe out the human race so the Skrulls can have a new home, and that new home being Earth. So with Nick Fury back on Earth, him and Maria Hill have to find a way to stop these bombs, I guess. They're gonna bomb Russia under the guise of Americans, then that's going to start a war. They go to stop the war. That's their first mission to the episode, and we will get into that further. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who's who. We have Skrulls that are good. We have Skrulls that are bad. We have Nick Fury's back, but he's incompetent now. Everyone's kind of happy to have him back, but everyone's kind of like, dude, we kind of could use the real Nick Fury. Since this is a spoiler-filled episode, we end the summary with the death at the end of Maria Hill. Ever since Avengers, right? Or I don't know if she came into one of those solo movies before Avengers, but Maria Hill was a big part of this thing since 2000.
Avengers. Yeah. She's on the ship.
First, she was at the beginning when Loki attacks the base. Is the first time we see her when he comes through the portal, the Tesseract.
Dude, big character, big death. Bravo, Marvel. I hope you don't bring her back. I like her, but I just hate the whole fake death Marvel thing. And
So you're happy she's dead? Quoted here,
Wow.
I'm
JD.
sad. I'm sad she's dead.
Oh no, don't take it
Host
back.
JD is glad.
You like that
Maria
she's
Hill is
dead, and you don't want her ever to come back. You want her to
JD is
be
a sadist.
dead as dead.
It's official.
But the way she went out, like the Gravik disguising himself as Fury,
Brutal.
and then she's like, "It was you."
It was you.
Yeah.
like,
My God, that's
oh,
heartbreaking for Fury.
right.
Seeing
Like,
that and hearing
yeah.
that. Oh God.
like he's already down on his luck. He doesn't have his eye patch anymore. Everyone's talking about how washed he is.
Yeah, dude, the whole
Like,
episode.
Oh my gosh. Like at first I was hoping he wanted to be kidnapped, but I guess he knows this MI6 Sonya lady,
Right.
right? And he didn't even see what's in the crate. Like, and even later Maria is talking about how he's off his game and he needs to step it up or someone's going to get hurt. So it was
Yeah.
like they're really hammering it home that Fury's not the man he once was.
Yeah.
Well, get it.
Maria's
They're
like,
pissed.
Maria's like, you're not prepared for this fight at all.
Right.
Just straight up.
Yeah. And not reaching out was a loud enough message. Like everybody is pissed because they're like, dude, you essentially you abandoned Earth. The Thanos thing happened.
Right.
You changed. It messed with you, and you've been out of the fight since. And why are you here now? Like if you're that rattled, like like they said, it's a liability to have somebody in the field with you who isn't fully committed, who isn't fully there. It's not helpful just having them if they're not fully in the moment. They cause liability issues going through. So everybody is kind of. It's almost like a tough love kind of deal. It feels like because these are all people he's had these working relationships with and everything. But I don't believe Fury's out of the game. I think he's still got it.
Oh, yeah.
This will be his redemption. Like Obi-Wan episode 1 was
Mm-hmm.
nothing. And at the end of this series, Nick Fury will be back. He's going to put the eye patch back on probably.
Right. Or more like a Clint Eastwood or like a classic Western where the old Ranger's
Yeah.
out of his prime, but then he comes back for one last fight.
Right.
But
Yeah,
were either of you surprised to hear about that? Because I was under the impression that he was in space, like actively trying to prevent aliens from invading. I didn't realize he was just slacking off. Like, why was he in space just to slack off?
Or looking for a new planet for the Skrulls or something.
Anything. Like, if you're just going to like quit, why aren't you just chilling on Earth somewhere desolate? Like, why are you in space? Because like, what was that? Spider-Man end credit scene?
Yeah, Far
shows
From
him in
Home.
space.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
Saber? Martin Freeman's character said, I know, I forget. Everett Ross, good Lord. I always
colonizer.
forget that dude's name. Yeah.
Colonizer. Just call him that.
But yeah, it was probably just like an excuse for him to get off of Earth and be like, oh yeah, I'm working with the Saber division. But I mean, to be fair, all we do see is him sitting at a beach simulation when we do see him up there. So the only bit we did get of him was him slacking off a bit. But yeah, no, it's interesting. I kind of like that. I like that style to it. I like the whole setup to this show. We came into this not knowing, we knew it wasn't going to be like the comics. So obviously we're not going to have Captain America and Iron Man and all these reveals and stuff. We're past that. It's a different story. And even I think that people told Samuel L. Jackson and a couple others, like, don't read the Secret Invasion comics. This is not it. This is not like, this is a totally different story. Like they told the actors to not read the comic. So we knew it was going to be different. I didn't know how they're going to set this up because the first introduction of the Skrulls and Captain Marvel kind of make them allies, right? We get them 30 years ago and they're allies with us. So it's like, okay, now I really don't know how you're going to do a Secret Invasion story with the Skrulls. But this worked. This, we've seen, obviously, people are very divided, especially with politics, a lot of different aspects. Like, you don't just get an entire race or a species to all agree on one thing. So it's totally believable that a faction of the Skrulls, after 30 years of waiting for this promise of their home to be found for them, are getting fed up and are like, you know what? They're either not doing something about it at all, or it's not happening fast enough. Either way, this is our Earth then. And so the whole concept to this series, it works for me. I like it. I was unsure coming into it, but they've got me so far with how they're setting it up.
And I've seen some early comparisons with these Rebellion Skrulls to the Flag Smashers, but I hope they're, because they do kind of have the same concept, but I hope they're more fleshed out and written better. And I like this main villain way better than, was it Carly?
Carly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she kind of.
He's like, I think he's a super Skrull, first of all. And he's like kind of a sociopath, power hungry, unhinged. like a terror. I mean, he's a terrorist who wants to take over Earth. But yeah, I feel like they need to flesh him out more so we kind of understand where he's coming from.
Yeah,
I think they will.
Well, I think he's even more than a terrorist. Like he's a terrorist, obviously. But within the Skrull ranks, I thought I heard they say that he got Talos kicked off the council and essentially like leapfrogged into this position of power for the Skrulls. So he's not just a terrorist. He's got like a good amount of Skrulls behind him in a legitimate fashion for the Skrull people. So it's now almost like the Skrulls who resist are the rebels because this Skrull rebellion is kind of moving forward with this new cause. But I love it. Yeah, the Gravik character, super, super interesting so far. I like that.
His ability to change identity in a second, especially that end scene when Fury's trying to chase him and something passes in front and he changes to another person and then another person. Like, that was sick. He has some abilities, that's for sure.
Right. Well, Talos says in Captain Marvel, it's a skill, and I say I'm pretty good at it. So not all Skrulls have the same ability of the shape-shifting, and so obviously. But one thing I did notice about that, I don't know if you guys did, but they seem to be making a point of trying to do as much shape-shifting off camera as they can. Like a couple times, they literally ducked their face and put something in front of it, or a hat, or did it off screen. Because the first one we saw, I don't think it was up to the Captain Marvel standard. Obviously, Captain Marvel has a bigger box office, but the transformation scenes, CGI, yeah, exactly. And Captain Marvel were obviously far superior. So they're kind of creatively hiding it, which is smart. I get it. It's a TV series, so it's to be understood,
Well, yeah, they had AI do the intro, so they're clearly trying to save money.
I was just going to get in. Yeah. God. I mean, I could just... Yeah, I thought that was so sloppy. First off, it's not, even though it kind of is like pay somebody to do it. I didn't think it was that cool. I thought it was kind of a mess, and immediately could tell it was AI. And I don't know. And it was way too long too. Felt like it was like a 2-minute opening title credit, and it was just nothing special. A bunch of AI blurry. I don't know.
I like the style of it. It was very like eerie and made you feel uncomfortable. The scenes.
Oh, I was uncomfortable for sure.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. That's what it is.
AI makes me uncomfortable.
It is. Yeah, it's weird. And that's like some advanced AI because they had the prompt you have to give AI to give you a picture like that is long.
I feel like it's getting better every day. Marvel's probably got, the level 5 membership to ChatGPT or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, I've always hated intros. I don't even care. I'm like, I like those shows that have just like the opening title and calls it a day, goes to the scene.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I'll watch the first episode intro. I'll watch it for the first one and then I won't. I'll skip it every other time.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones had a pretty good one though, because it actually had a cool music in the map.
I'm here.
That was the one time.
But okay, how long did it take for you to realize that it was showing the locations that were in the episode?
But that's what's so good about it. I was still watching it the whole time. And then like 2 seasons in, I was like, oh, wait a second. These are all the places. And then like 4 seasons in, I was like, oh, these are all the places in this specific episode. Like, then they started detailing the episode plot with it. So I'm here for the long Game of Thrones thing. But
yeah,
I was talking to Nerd Dose podcast on Instagram. They got a podcast out there. Obviously, you can tell what it's about the title card as well, and he was saying it was way too long, and I was just saying, yeah, they should have just done a Samuel L. Jackson kind of morphing with the scroll, quick image with a quick little, ominous title card with Secret Invasion popping up, like 10 seconds, call it a day. But,
and I think every episode's gonna be different too. I don't think it's gonna be the same one every time.
Oh, did they type in a different AI prompt for the next episode?
Yeah, they worked very hard. When Emilia Clarke brings the new recruit to New Skrullos, there's like some
called?
Yeah, New Skrullos. There's like Skrulls hanging out in their real, skins at the beginning, but then everyone else after that one opening scene is a human the entire time.
Right.
They're saving money.
They also said though that they said something about if the longer they stay human, then the harder it is to detect that they're Skrulls. So a lot of the warriors are supposed to stay human, because they're out there doing all the dirty work disguised.
Oh, that's sick! I'm so glad you brought that up. I missed that line. That's huge. Yeah, nice.
How they take the human's identity though? They strap them in, electrocute their foreheads, and then don't just take their identity; they take their entire mind, which was brutal. And it's like at first I'm like, okay, Emilia Clarke's maybe in the wrong group, hanging out with the wrong kids. But she seemed down. And, later we find out more that she's down with it. But, like, can that be reversed? Do you think they can bring these people back? Or they kind of, because they're not killing them, but I don't think they can give people their thoughts back.
Well, in Captain Marvel, that happens to her, and she's hanging upside down, and they're taking the memories from her, and they're watching it. They're getting all the memories, but she still has them too. So it almost feels like they combine that, because they said in Captain Marvel, when they shifted, they got some of their recent memories, but not their deep core memories, when they would just immediately transform over their genetics. But now they're like strapping them in and stuff. So maybe now they're getting all of their memories all the way back. So it's a much more efficient kind of identity theft.
I'd imagine they're just sticking a flash drive in your brain and extracting the stuff. He's probably still got it in his software there, right?
Making copies. Yeah.
Did the guy die or anything? We don't really know his fate, huh?
No, wait, which one? The guy who was just strung up when they were doing that in that scene?
Yeah,
I don't know.
So back to the intro scene, we have Ross finding out all this info, and then it sets the tone by showing that Ross was a Skrull this whole time, which is kind of the theme, right? Like, we're never going to know who's a Skrull and who's not.
Exactly.
Anytime there's an exchange of information or goods, it's going to be scary. Like, anytime there's two people alone, it's going to be scary. I don't know.
Yeah,
dude, they fooled me. I was fooled by that scene. I thought it was him the whole time until towards the end, obviously. But that like is such a perfect way, because that's really going to get me ready for the show. Exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
dude, love that mystery factor to it. And yeah, so the guy's breaking down everything. Which, by the way, that was Beric Dondarrion, the guy who was breaking down. The theory.
That's
to him.
Funny.
It's like, So it happens, and it's like, now he's the first Skrull reveal for the show, and now it brings up the question, okay, damn, how long has this been? Was he a Skrull in Civil War when we saw him? Black Panther, did it happen just now, and he just took his identity, and he's still out there somewhere, Because if that was the Skrull who died, they could still have regular Everett Ross chained up with his memory things being, captured. So he could still be, who knows? It brings up so many questions, though. So what do you guys think? Do you think he was a Skrull in any of the previous times we've seen him, or do you think this is a new thing?
I don't think the Skrull got far enough to taking his memories, because he kind of got fooled. The other guy figured it out and started attacking him. So I think Everett Ross is still out there, but
okay.
Maybe Wakanda Forever, because that's the most recent.
Oh, yeah. What was his role in that?
Him and Val were in it randomly, right?
That's right. And he was married to Val. And if Val's a Skrull too,
like
so we predicted earlier.
Okay. So Wakanda Forever.
Whole nother connection there.
Post blip. And I guess this takes place like 2025, which I don't know exactly when that is.
I'm lost on the years.
Well, Endgame is 5 years after Infinity War, and Infinity War is when they were actually going by the real year.
Right. 2019. Or
18.
Infinity War is 18. Yeah, yes. They skipped 5 years ahead to 2023. That was the first time jump we got for Endgame.
So this is 2 years after Endgame.
And Endgame came out in 2019, and they were saying it was 2023 in Endgame. So...
Right.
I don't know. I'm so confused. I'm ready to be out of the multiverse.
The writers or like director, creator said that. It's like, it's after the blip, a year or so.
Speaking of the writers and directors, real quick, while we're talking about Everett Ross. So Tommy from New Rockstars actually was interviewing the director of the show, and he asked him,
random.
What, the call out to Tommy from New Rockstars?
No, him being able to
get access?
Yeah, why wouldn't Eric do it? It just when I watched it was so weird.
New rock stars do that, but yeah. So he asked him if we were supposed to believe whether Everett Ross was a Skrull the whole time we knew him or not.
Right.
And all the director had to say to that was, "All will be revealed." So we're going to find out at the end of this series if he's been a Skrull since the start. If it was recent, is what that sounds like. But he left it pretty mysterious.
So Okoye is going to run up and just spear him through the chest. You were tricking me the whole time.
No, I think that was just for the opening scene. I think it was just, or it could just be the mystery for the whole thing, because I don't think we're just going to see him next episode, right?
Maybe down the road.
I hope they hold off for a bit, Right.
Yeah.
Keep the tension there. I mean, but the same thing goes. We don't even know about, Fury. We find out Fury was a Skrull and Far From Home. And then it was like, oh, okay, now all these theories coming out that during Avengers Age of Ultron, he didn't cut his toast diagonal. And so that wasn't actually Fury. Like all these people got deep dive because he says that in Captain Marvel. He goes, I always cut my toast diagonal, yada, yada, yada. So all these theories came up about, okay, it actually wasn't Fury during Avengers Age of Ultron. So I love the mystery though.
Yeah. I would be kind of upset if they revealed Fury as a Skrull though, because they showed him, coming back from space and getting off the ship, and then they pull a twist and say, "Oh, he's still a Skrull the whole time." Be like,
yeah, and the Nick Fury Skrull kills Maria Hill. They played that card.
It could have been, Fury was still out in space when Talos was imitating him in Far From Home. So he could have still been out in space, from the start of that, trying to help them find a home during Avengers Age of Ultron. So even if he was revealed to be a Skrull that whole time, that still could have been real Fury landing on Earth in this episode and all that. But again, there's so many theories. You can go down so many paths.
Or maybe Fury has a home for the Skrulls, and he'll come back and let them know at the end.
So you don't think this is Fury then? What do you mean?
No. I mean that would be the one way to kind of explain it, basically. But no, I don't. I wouldn't like that. Okay. But he's still out there looking for a home. He's a good man.
We learn a lot with him sitting down with Talos in the beginning. He kind of learns about Gravik. He learns about Russia. We learn that the Skrulls are immune to radioactivity. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're kind of inhabiting Russia with a lot of these. Apparently, Russia has the most abandoned nuclear plants in the world. I wonder if that's true. It sounds like it could be right.
It is. Yeah, I think after Chernobyl, everything started chain reacting, shutting down, and a bunch of abandoned. I'm pretty sure there was a whole thing about that.
Yeah. And we learned that the plan is to have Russia believe that America's attacking them. Gravik's going to bomb Russia or Kazakhstan and start World War III. And this is, to Talos' words, he said this is going to wipe out humanity because it's going to end up as a nuclear war. And anything that the bombs don't finish, as far as humans go, the Skrulls will finish off and Earth will be the new planet. So Fury stands up. He's pissed because of the extinction thing for his race. So yeah, Fury's going to get back in the game. Pretty exciting, pretty high stakes, right?
I didn't even think about that, about how all the Skrulls would be able to survive a nuclear holocaust because they're immune to radiation.
Right. They can just chill for the explosion, come out, none of the radiation affects them, boom, bang, boom.
Yeah.
It would be kind of a shitty planet to live on, though, after that, huh?
Yeah, you're poisoning your home to start, but, hey, it does grow back eventually.
I was going to say, they're planting their own plants on New Skrullos. I wonder if their plants are immune to radiation, too, just like they are.
Good call. Yeah. They might need to irradiate everything on the planet to be able to start fresh.
Yeah.
Right.
As far as the repetitive world-ending threat goes, not bad. This isn't bad.
No, I didn't even consider it really. Like, oh, here we go again. The whole thing felt fresh, especially with all the time travel, multiversal, everything. It was nice to have this espionage grounded, but, obviously a little extra. We have Skrulls impersonating and taking over the Earth, but we still felt that mystery, that espionage. I loved the style of it.
Yeah. It's grounded in world ending at the same time. Cool little trick they're pulling off. This is back to totally a Winter Soldier vibes. Do you guys feel like this feels like a Winter Soldier movie or vibe at least?
Parts? Yeah. So far. Half and half,
Right.
But there's definitely vibes there that carry over.
Not a lot of forced humor at least. Oh, that's a relief.
Like none. Was there? There was. I like the line too. They're talking about midlife crises, and Talos is talking to Nick Fury, and he's like, "Oh, what did you get for your, midlife crisis?" And he turns around and goes, "The Avengers."
That was hilarious.
I was like, all right, that was dope.
Yeah. Fury and Talos have great banter back and forth, and it's just two great actors. I could watch all day.
I'm about to rewatch Captain Marvel now because I just want to watch the Talos and Young Fury thing again. Love it.
The better
and even
series is, the better a rewatch of Captain Marvel is going to become for Talos.
Yeah, that's true. And when he's interrogating the painter / bomb dealer, I was kind of getting the Pulp Fiction vibes.
Okay.
How when he's the
Porpushin or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Is that the artist's name in this?
The bomb dealer?
Yes. Yeah, Gaia and Fury infiltrated him at the same time, right?
Right. And she left
Yeah.
Justin right after she paid him. Oh, and him and Talos start fight each other, and Talos says, let me take this. I got him. And he's getting his ass beat the whole time, and Fury finally just pops him with 2 shots at the end.
And Talos was pissed. He didn't like
Right.
that. He was like, dude,
He was like
you no.
discouraged.
Yeah.
Too. Like after Fury left, he was looking at the ground like, damn.
Right.
I'm not who I once was.
That's big because that's kind of your one Skrull friend, right? Like everyone who follows Talos is your friend. But as soon as you start, he didn't want his own kind to die. He was trying to prevent that. I'm sure he wanted to subdue him in a Batman way, but he was pissed. He's like, dude, I told you don't.
Yeah, that's interesting.
He's not trying to kill his people. He does want to stop Gravik from wiping out humanity, but he doesn't want to kill Skrulls.
That's an interesting point because when I watched it, I didn't even consider it as that. I considered it as like the prideful, like, no, don't jump in. Like I need to recover here because he got his ass whipped to start. But that makes total sense too. I only took it that way initially because that was kind of the plot for this episode with Fury. Everybody's telling him he's washed up and everything. And now Talos is watching this young buck who rose to power in his stead, got him kicked out, and he's now kind of taken over and doing this stuff. So it almost feels like we're watching Talos and Fury battling time, battling aging too and becoming washed up from what they used to be. But that's great. That's totally, I'm sure that was it. Yeah, he doesn't want to kill his own people. He cares about his people. He's here for the cause. He just doesn't want the humans to suffer for their cause.
Yeah, he was pissed.
Yeah.
All right, so we got that scene with Rhodey and the president. Rhodey says Fury's AWOL. He's not answering his calls. Nobody can get in contact with him. He's supposed to be taking care of this space threat, but he hasn't even been in contact with anybody. Now, they keep calling it Saber.
Yeah.
But they don't call it Sword. I'm kind of disappointed that they're not calling that satellite space station Sword, because in the comics, I think it's Sword. And I can't remember what Saber come from. I think of The Office.
The Office?
Yeah.
Sabre. Are you sure it's not Sabre? They called it Sword, I thought, in Spider-Man. WandaVision. Yes.
Right.
It was called Sword. So I don't know why they're calling it Saber either. Maybe it's a division of Sword, but they definitely called it Sword in WandaVision.
I feel like that's in the Spider-Man game.
Really?
Yeah. Saber, that's right. Aren't they the only ones with those flying suits? Actually,
yeah.
sometimes.
Dude, oh my God, I fucking hate them.
Yeah.
Yes, that's them. Word.
That is Saber. So it does.
And they have the gray-haired, the silver-haired chick that leads them.
Yep, with the DLC. She has a whole DLC for her.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess it doesn't exist in the Marvel Universe. I don't know anything about Saber. I just don't know why you wouldn't keep this floating satellite named Sword. That's what it is in the comics.
Right.
They have Sword.
I have to imagine it.
Yeah.
Do they? Okay.
That's what it was. When they saw him in WandaVision, Monica Rambeau, that was on land.
Right.
That wasn't a
You're
space
right.
station.
Yeah, so I think it's got to be a branch of it. They have to be connected. I can't imagine it's a totally separate entity, like Sword and Saber, 2 different space station like intelligence agencies. I have to feel like it's the same, just a side branch. Yeah. But yeah, I must have fallen asleep. I don't remember that scene. I barely remember Rhodey at all in this episode, so I think I dozed off a little bit during that. I didn't get to rewatch this at all.
And this is kind of the problem with Phase 4/5. Like, we keep getting these updates post-blip, and we're kind of like sticking to this blip thing, but we don't know exactly where we are after it. Like, he says everyone's off the map, and everyone's been, doing their own thing since Endgame.
Yeah.
But it's like we're not really going anywhere. We're just like staying in this 2-year period after Endgame. Like, that was so great about the first 3 phases was we were going like in order. We went back. You knew when you were going back, but you also knew when you were going forward, and it was easy to figure out. With the last like 10 releases, it's just been like back and forth in this like 5-year time frame, and we're like here, then we're there, then we're back 8 months, we're forward 6 months, we're back 2 years, and it just it just confuses me, and I want to just be able to go forward in this story and not have to like keep retracing my steps.
Well, and it's so disjointed too that there's even theories started rising. Well, maybe that was a different universe. Maybe that movie took place in an alternate universe, or even
JD
like
said
Celestials or Eternals. It's like, okay, so I'm still waiting in this show for somebody to address the massive celestial coming out of that freaking Indian Ocean. Somebody talk about it. And so, theories come up like, well, maybe Eternals is in a different dimension or a different universe, a different Earth or whatever, because what the hell? Nobody has mentioned this. This hasn't become a topic of conversation anywhere. So I'm with you. The timeline is very confusing still. And even though it feels nice to get a grounded plot line, it is still hard to put where we are on the timeline right now.
All right. And then we visit New Skrulls, and we have this dude named Beto. He arrives, and we finally see Emilia Clarke. And since I haven't seen her outside of Game of Thrones, I wasn't really sure how she would work in this kind of a thing. She worked well. She's a good actor. She totally worked well for what she was given. They talk about the dream a lot. Like the Skrull says, what's the dream? It's to be home in my own skin, which kind of, that's pretty heavy if you think of 20, 30 years without a home, believing they would find a home, going month by month by month by month. Eventually, it's just dozens of years where they don't have a home. They have to be humans. They don't have a home in their own skin. They have a home trying to hide. Like they've been hiding for 20, 30 years or operating under disguises for 20, 30 years. Like that's not home. That's not what it should be. You should be in your own skin, comfortable, not worried about stuff like that. So you could see how they're, after 20 and 30 years, of course, there's a branch of extremists that are willing to kill some people to have a home because they're sick of it. They're ready to just be Skrulls and hang out.
Yeah, I liked what they did with them. It was cool seeing Emilia Clarke stepping in. She's a solid role so far. It looks like she's kind of conflicted, but we get the setup that she's going to help her dad, and then pretty sure she screwed them over at the end of that. So we really don't know where she stands with this, but she finds out, she lost her mom, and obviously that kind of shakes her faith in the cause when Talos is telling her that was the guy you're working for killed her, your mother. She's dead. So I like the dynamic they're dropping there. It's obviously going to be a massive Skrull civil war going on with it, but I like the setup of her so far. I was still hoping she was Abigail Brand, but it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, she really played Talos like a fiddle. Like he says, just give me the bomb, I'll protect you. And she finally gives in and says, okay, there'll be 3 backpacks with the, the X's on the, you can only see it through
the, what did she use? Infrared marking.
Infrared. Yep.
Yeah.
And what she lied. Those are all the decoys,
Yep.
But he did kind of mention, he told her that Gravik was the reason her mom died, which will stick with her and make her second guess her, choices in the future.
That seed planted.
Yep.
Seed of doubt.
And when it comes to the chase scene that happened right after that, it was a little extended, and I hate it. It's such a classic movie trope where you're trying to chase someone, but there's all these people in front you're trying to get through, and everyone keeps getting in your way. It frustrates me every time. But there, you could have just gone. You can go to the right to the wall and just go straight up the wall, and no one was over there. Just you don't have to weave through everyone. Go pick a side and just go straight. It's so much faster that way.
At least it wasn't the Obi-Wan Kenobi chase scenes. All right. It wasn't great. And it was very generic, but at least it wasn't that. But it was only a rung above that. Yeah. It's the same, just, fake created tension kind of in the shows and movies. That's the go-to. So yeah, they've pretty much lost their interest.
Shout out to Patterson for cutting out the whole chase scene with Leia in episode 2 or 3.
Yeah. We might cover that. It's a 2.5-hour movie instead of the full show, and it is significantly better.
Talos and Gaia have a full discussion about her mother died, Talos' wife. So we get a lot of character development there with those two. But you feel like you could trust her when she says, I'll paint him with infrared. You'll have this info. You'll be good. I felt satisfied. I was like, thank you. I appreciate that. I feel pretty comfortable going into this mission with you. And of course, there were decoys. And then Gravik just bombs the whole place. He's immediately a pretty good villain, pretty scary, pretty intimidating. And in the chaos, Maria Hill's helping some people, looks up, sees Nick Fury. He waves at her, hey, what's up? Let's get together. Let's be safe together. And then she comes to him, shoots him. She's dead. The real Nick Fury finds her. Nice emotional moment. Say goodbye to Maria Hill. It's been a long 11-year ride. She's dead. And here we are. Nick Fury was completely outgunned, outmatched. They thought they had him. They lost completely. People died.
Yeah.
Like we thought he was at his rock bottom before this happened, but this is a new rock bottom. Episode 2, he's at a brand new rock bottom. So he's going to have a lot of climbing to do, but it's going to motivate him. He likes that Avengers shit. So he's going to come back and, I think this is what's going to motivate him to really push forward and become the real Nick Fury again.
He once grabbed Phil Coulson's Captain America trading card, wiped his blood with it, and showed it to the Avengers to motivate them. So he will go to anything. But it was a great way to end the first episode. Like you said, we really thought, okay, they're gonna stop this. The people are gonna be okay. But no, they didn't stop a single person. They had no chance of stopping that attack. And yeah, they're gonna have to really, rehash, think things over, and try to stop this.
Yep. Solid way to end it. Light a fire under Fury's butt. Have him come back for episode 2. John Wick. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. Take out some Skrulls. Boom, bang. We're back in it.
So what a hell of a way to start off this new Disney Plus series. None of the Disney Plus series have been great. And stay tuned for our coverage of episode 2 and all the other episodes. I think episode 2, we're going to have a little collaboration episode for you.
Yeah, for episode 2, we will be joining the Galactic Core podcast to cover that episode. So go ahead and look them up. We'll be promoting it on social media as well. So yeah, go ahead and keep an eye out for that.